What has happened, everybody? James Hancock here. I'm back to review the season premiere of The Curse, which dropped today on Paramount Plus, and it'll be airing on Showtime on Sunday. And this show is not to be confused with the British comedy series from last year with the exact same name, but this show is produced by A24, but more importantly, created by Nathan Fielder and Benny Safdie. They shared writing duties on the first episode, while Nathan Fielder handled the directing, and the show also features the amazing Emma Stone, who between this and her new movie Poor Things, is having an absolutely incredible year. Her comedic chops remain as sharp as ever, and there's loads of evidence that she just keeps getting better and better as a performer. Now, I must admit that I was completely underwhelmed by the trailer for this show when I first saw it, but in hindsight, I think the trailer did a pretty inadequate job of capturing the tone of this show, but I liked the premiere of this show quite a bit. That said, I hesitate to recommend the show to all of you. I'm only recommending it to some of you. And the niche audience that I'm recommending this show to is the audience that likes stress, cringe comedy, uncomfortable awkward silences, cruelty, ridicule, and just an overall cynical attitude towards superficial bullshit. If that sounds like you will absolutely love this show. Because this is one of those shows that embraces an incredibly specific, narrow flavor of humor, offering this genuinely ruthless and scathing look at the world's biggest do-gooder couple, played by Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone. A couple that loudly proclaims how good they are, how pure they are at every available opportunity, all while giving the audience ample evidence that the exact opposite happens to be true. And this kind of stressful entertainment is a Safdie specialty, as we saw in the movies Good Time and Uncut Gems by the Safdie brothers. I'd argue that The Curse induces less anxiety and more laughs, but it's still a deliciously tense experience. Sadly, Josh Safdie is not involved in the show. He's off working on some sports memorabilia project with Adam Sandler over at Netflix. But Benny is absolutely on fire in this show as a reality TV filmmaker who's following the characters played by Fielder and Stone. And I feel like Benny Safdie being cast in this role, it's probably easier for him to play this role than it is to fall off a log. But as a pure actor, I think this might be the best work that I've seen by Benny yet. Now, in general, I find comedy to be an incredibly challenging genre to review because comedy is so subjective. You either laugh or you don't. Or in this case, you either kind of cringe in horror or you don't. But withering social satire is a little easier to talk about, and this show has plenty on that front. And I think just the deep, relentless cynicism at the heart of the show is going to make a lot of people really uncomfortable. It's either going to remind them of themselves or the people they know. But the premise is absolutely fantastic. You have these two newlyweds who are currently making a reality show about their efforts to try to restore and renew certain kind of poverty-stricken or downtrodden parts of the city in New Mexico, a community called Espanola. And on the surface, they're trying to provide housing and jobs for a lot of Spanish-speaking residents. And they use all the appropriate kind of buzzy terminology and jargon talking about sustainability and environmentalism and lifting people out of poverty. But it is so goddamn phony, even if they don't realize how artificial they're coming across. But there's this incredible desperate need on their part to constantly persuade people to look at them in a positive light, no matter how horribly they might be behaving. And they had this public speaking style, which sounds a little bit like they're on a permanent job interview, or like they sound like a damn loathsome politician. And as that old expression goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, because in spite of all their efforts, they're actually kind of unintentionally causing harm to this community by driving rent up. And so they're caught in this weird position where they're trying to help people by essentially gentrifying the community, or the G word, as they like to say it. But in that we're getting to see them on screen during their reality show as well as off screen, we slowly but surely start to learn the true story behind this couple and how they've kind of not so secretly bought up a lot of property in the area. So as the area starts to rise in value and rents continue to go up, and as the community starts to be more prosperous, they stand to benefit financially, and they've learned all these tricks from the parents of Emma Stone's character, who are basically these corrupt, old-fashioned slumlords. And as I was watching this show, I was just kind of cackling with glee to see a show that's just so merciless and so cruel and so savage about people who, at least on the surface, have noble intentions. A perfect example would be these solar panel houses that they're building that are designed to have a carbon neutral impact on their environment. But as we quickly learn, these solar panel houses, or at least the design of them or the look of them, it's all total bullshit. They're covered in all these mirrors to make it look like it's one big giant solar panel. But then in a conversation with one of the designers of the house, he admits how the mirrors are all just totally for show and that they're superfluous. It's a house that's basically designed to tell the rest of the neighborhood, we're environmentally friendly and you are not. But once again, the mirrors, they're all for show. And the reason the show is called The Curse is because of a scene featured prominently in the trailer where, after some not-so-subtle encouragement and urging on the part of Benny Safdie's character, Nathan Fielder's character approaches this little girl selling candy or Sprite in a parking lot, and they basically want to get him on film buying Sprite, looking like he's doing this part to support the community. However, he's only got a $100 bill on him. So after they get the footage of him giving her a $100 bill for a few soft drinks, he demands to get the $100 bill back. And he claims he's going to go off and get change and come back and give her a 20. But the little girl, she's having none of it. And she just straight up slaps a curse on him, and it's absolutely hysterical. And I probably should have had a camera set up while I was watching the show just to capture like my grimaces of pure horror as I was watching this drama unfold. Because we all know fake fucks like this where every line that they say feels so rehearsed and overly produced and kind of designed to signal to everyone around them that they are on what they feel is the right side of every single trendy or buzzy topic out there. And I think the show does a brilliant job of just showing how the more loudly people proclaim about how good they are, avoid those people like the plague. They are probably rotten to the core of their souls. But the show's not all withering satire. Sometimes it just embraces some good old-fashioned raunchy humor. There's a lengthy conversation between two men about small dicks and kind of the trials and tribulations of having a very small penis and what it means. And there's a genuinely hilarious sex scene where, I don't know how much I should give away, but basically it is a cuckold fantasy on the part of Nathan Fielder that he is kind of exploring with Emma Stone. And I was like, oh my fucking God, like this couple, you know what, I'll just come out right and say it, and if you don't want to hear any spoilers, bail out now. But they're basically exploring the sexual fantasy where, because he's got a really small penis, the only way he can satisfy his wife is with this large dildo, and so they pretend as if the large dildo belongs to some other kind of much more masculine, large, heavy-set individual. I think they call him Steve anyway. But basically, Nathan Fielder's character is waiting for his turn with his wife, and he's basically masturbating while getting his wife off with his large dildo. I mean, I just could not believe that the show was willing to go there. And my hat's off to Emma Stone for just completely, totally embracing a much more adult, much more sexual style of storytelling, both in this show as well as in Poor Things, and that strange growing contingent of people out there who come completely undone and get completely traumatized by any hint of sexuality in film and television. This show, as well as Poor Things, is just going to make their fucking heads explode. And if so, fine. Like, those people are huge buzzkills. They're wet blankets. Like, get them out of the gene pool. But for me, the main reason why I'm going to recommend that people at least give this show a shot is this one scene where Benny Safdie's character shows a sample or a reel of some of his previous work on yet another reality show called, hang on, I wrote it down, Love to the Third Degree. This is a level of satire where even Trey Parker and Matt Stone, even they're going to be envious and kind of shocked by how aggressively this fake reality show basically just pulls out a scalpel and just digs right into the core of what makes all these ridiculous reality shows about falling in love so phony and so artificial. And there's this great moment, probably the best laugh out loud moment that I've had all year in 2023, where you see the shock and horror on all the contestants' faces as they're confronted with the truth of the person that they've all been competing to fall in love with all this time. And Emma Stone's been making me laugh ever since I first saw her in Superbad back in, like 2007 or 2008, whenever the hell that movie came out. But seeing her reactions to this reality show that Benny Safdie is showing her with pride, basically trying to give her an idea of the kind of show that he would like to make. I mean, I was just fucking screaming with laughter. And yet Emma Stone, like I said before, she just keeps getting better and better. I feel like her comedic chops remain razor sharp, but as an actress, she just keeps reaching new heights at any rate. The whole show is worth watching just for that one scene. But let me reiterate, this show will 100% not be for everyone. Some people like to feel good and happy when they watch their comedies, and that's totally fine. You know, watch what you want to watch. Watch the shows that give you joy. Watch the movies that give you joy. But if you occasionally find yourself absolutely gagging in despair at some of the superficial, blatantly phony behavior by your coworkers or your teachers or some of your family members that you bump into at that holiday cookout once a year, the kind of people where every single comment they make is designed to show that they're on the right side of history of all their favorite political topics, well, then you're going to absolutely be enthralled by the show because you have razor sharp writing, razor sharp direction, and razor sharp performances absolutely skewering this kind of loathsome behavior. That's not a new thing, but it definitely seems to be particularly strong in this cultural moment that we're experiencing right now. So I'm going to recommend that people check out The Curse, but only if you like your comedy to go to the dark side. And my hat's off to everybody involved, Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder, and Benny Safdie. Holy shit, this is, I have no idea where this show's going to go. If they can sustain this level of quality throughout all 10 episodes, the final product will end up being something very special. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell, and definitely let me know what you think of the show in the comments below. But I hope everybody has a great weekend, but more importantly, as always, onwards and upwards.